All right, Santa Paula, we are back. It is Listen Up, Santa Paula, episode number 136, which
36.
means
Yeah.
135 is in the can.
Yep.
And we are already into January 15th. There are now, 350 days left till Christmas.
Very good. You got that. There you go. Yeah. Nice.
Get your Christmas shopping done early. Actually, I lied. There's 344.
We're close. We're close.
344 days left to Christmas.
Wow. That's going to go by like that, too.
6 hours, 37 minutes, and 28 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
I already got the countdown clock going.
Yeah. These first 2 weeks have just flown by.
I know.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah. And then, got a nice little breeze outside today. The wind has been horrific today.
It's not helping the fires any.
No, they've done a good job, though, containing those fires. Yeah. Even we had a couple here in the county that they kind of took care of really fast. But it's just horrible what's happened out in the LA area. Yeah, it's going to take a long time.
They ran out of water in the pumps, and some people need to account for that.
Yeah, but it's great to see the support from the citizens with all the supplies they brought. And you saw what they did out at the Santa Anita Park, how they just had, rows and rows of supplies, clothes, food, you name it. And it's just really, it's really good to see that people are stepping up and helping each other. And all the neighbors that have helped each other even fight the fires and stuff during that time and some of the rescues that they did. And it's really encouraging to see that people genuinely care, Well,
I have an update on some insurance related items, which
that's going to be an interesting one.
Not good news.
No.
So we will talk about that as well as others.
Yeah, got lots to talk about today.
After this.
Rough Edge FM. Irritatingly irresistible internet radio at roughedgefm.com.
There's so much going on in your community that even in this age of information, it's tough to keep up. This show will help. It's all about what's new, what's happening, and what's out there. So if you're ready, sit back and listen up, Santa Paula.
All right, we are back.
Yeah, we're already talking insurance.
Yes. So here's some disturbing. There's several disturbing things about this. Obviously, number one, the fact that the hydrants didn't have any water. Somebody needs to take responsibility for that. That's awful for the fire department to go to a hydrant and turn it on and not have any water come out.
Water, no pressure, whatever.
No.
Yeah.
And you just watch the house burn down because there's absolutely nothing they can do.
Yeah.
On an insurance front, I had gotten some information that I wasn't supposed to get. But, as you know, several celebrities have lost their homes.
We'll stay nameless.
Tom Hanks, Mel Gibson, some pretty A-list celebrities.
Which have been very public and critical about everything that's gone on.
I thought Steven Spielberg lost his home, but apparently he did not. But other people around him did. He's probably got some sort of cage that covers it and protects it, and the amount of money that guy has.
Yeah.
So State Farm, who a lot of these people are insured by, will not be issuing claim checks to people like Tom Hanks. And the FEMA, I believe, is the organization that's responsible for these things. They will not be issuing any money to people like Tom Hanks either, because he has the means to take care of himself.
But how do they determine that? That's their job. They're
some of these celebrities who are worth millions and millions and millions of dollars are going to go without any compensation whatsoever for the fire, even though they've been paying into the insurance.
But you also have others that are in different sectors that are multimillionaires.
Oh yeah, it's anybody, any of the people in like Tom Hanks arena, the Mel Gibsons and all those guys. Anybody who's in that arena, they will not get a check from State Farm, and FEMA will not issue them a check either because they have the means to recover.
And that seems totally unfair.
Yes.
They're no different than you and I as far as that's just their profession, and they've been fortunate to get what they get.
And they probably pay thousands of dollars every single month in insurance
Exactly.
for coverage.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just going to flat out not pay because they don't have the money to pay it out.
Yeah.
It's like 20 some odd $1 billion.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's not right.
No, it
When
isn't.
you look at it, because these individuals, and not just celebrities, but other ones that are fortunate, are wealthy. I mean, they do give back to the community too.
They do.
And a lot of them are donating time, resources, or whatever they can during this time too. And because they can.
Right.
But so don't take away the other side of it from them.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what your profession is or whatever, you should be treated equally all the way across the board.
Bill Gates was being interviewed a while back, and the way he put this, and I'm not going to get it verbatim, but so I'm going to kind of summarize in general what he said. But he was asked the question of, Bill, you have millions and millions and millions of dollars, even billions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you not pay more in taxes? He said, why don't you voluntarily pay more in taxes? And his response was, and I thought it was head on, is paying taxes is not an option. It's an obligation.
Mm-hmm.
So I am obligated to pay taxes based on what the law is.
Mm-hmm.
It is not something that I can choose to do or not do. It's something I have to do. So why would I give more to an obligation than what I'm obligated to give? I will support other organizations. I will support nonprofits, but why am I going to pay more on an obligation?
Yeah. And if he pays more, he's going to get his money back anyway. The government will.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter.
No, but even if the government kept it, I thought, you know what? He's dead on.
Yeah.
People look at taxes like it's a nonprofit organization collecting money to try to do all these. It's like, no, you are obligated. This is not it's not a choice. It's not a nonprofit. It's, you know, you don't have the option of saying, gee, I know I have a tax bill of $5,000, but I can't afford it. So I'm going to opt to not pay it. Try doing that.
Yeah.
So why should he pay more?
Pay his fair share, what it's called for, and move on.
Yeah.
So.
And he said, if the government wants more money, then change the tax law.
Yeah. Yeah. They have to. That's what they want to do. They can do that.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And it's true. It's, nobody is obligated to give more money to the government than what they're requiring by law. So,
or any other entity.
Yeah.
So just certain sectors, they're not obligated to give that money.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the electric company going in and saying, just because I can afford to, let me pay more in electrical rates. It's like,
yeah. You're not going to pay more for your utilities in general. You don't have to,
Here, let me pay the whole neighborhood's electric bill.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, that's charitable, but you're not obligated. So, so in Santa Paula, we now have Measure R, which puts us at a pretty high tax bracket.
Correct.
I believe 9.25%.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was effective in January.
Mm-hmm.
And do you see that having any kind of an impact on local business or people coming into the city?
Yes. And I know tonight at council, they're going to have a discussion as far as an oversight committee, what they're going to do with that, because they want to make sure they're addressing different sectors in the community and different needs. Through the chamber, I've advocated about that they should put more money towards economic development. We have infrastructure needs too, so we know that, but economic development is also for our business. We got to grow our businesses here. We got to grow within, and we got to bring in businesses as well. We have this influx of housing that's going on right now, but we also now need the businesses to back that up too. So,
and it's probably too early to tell whether or not businesses feel like they're being negatively impacted by the higher sales tax.
Yeah, we won't see that probably for 6 months.
Yeah.
Before you actually start seeing some data on it. But so we're trying to look at how do we help support the businesses because of this tax rate? One thing is, let's bring more money in for allocate more money for tourism, allocate more money for business development, training classes, whatever. Anything we can do to help support the businesses to not streamline them, but help them improve on what they're doing, what their needs are. Not
Right.
everybody's, they're all different. Some need more than others. Some don't need anything, but so we're looking at evaluating sectors. Tonight's a good example of how Women's Economic Ventures is doing their third round of the Emprendimiento program, our third cohort tonight. And that's the program that does business training in 8-week course. And it teaches local businesses, it's all in Spanish, on how to improve their business. And so I think we're hoping to get at 12 businesses tonight. So tonight's like the kickoff, and then the program starts February 4th.
Now, if we don't speak Spanish, can we still sit in the class and pretend like we understand what's going on?
In your case, probably not, so, because you have to give a presentation at the end too, and it's got to be in Spanish.
Oh,
so yeah. But we are looking at doing some exploring some opportunities for classes in English as well. It just Women's Economic Ventures. That's the program they have going on right now. But they have English stuff too that goes on through the internet and in-person stuff too. So there's plenty of opportunity. And there's other resources we spoke before the show was like, the Economic Development Collaborative too. There's resources there for businesses if they need business, exploring business opportunities through grants or loans or just different services to help their business. They have even online training as far as like QuickBooks or anything like that, any kind of stuff like that they need.
So with the Women's Economic organization, it's not just for women.
No.
So they help
women, minority-owned businesses and stuff.
Male-owned businesses.
Yeah.
And
we had a good mix the last cohort last year. I think there was a handful of men that were in there too.
Was it originally established to help women, period?
I want to say the program originally started that way, but I can't speak for them, but they've evolved over the years. They do fantastic work now.
Yeah.
We've been fortunate to partner with them for the last few years and provide them a facility to do that. And
because I know as a male, if I heard the Women's Economic, I would assume naturally that, okay, that's not something that I can participate in.
Yeah.
But it is something.
Yeah. They've expanded in various services, and I don't know the exact details of what the criteria is for doing that, but and if they can't support, a certain person, they'll refer you to somebody else as well, So, because there's plenty of other organizations, there's SCORE, there's WEAVE, there's the EDC, there's the SBA department, Small Business Association. They have resources too. So they all kind of work together to help, but they're available there, but it's also getting the businesses to want to help, to ask for the help.
Right.
And that's what we've got to do. We've got to get better at is, if we see businesses that are challenging or having some challenges, show them what all the resources are, and then it's up to them whether they want to do it, So, say like your business, we talk about different things, but then it's up to you to make that decision to take that leap forward.
Yeah. And I know, we've used the EDC in the past, and they're very much about guiding you, but they're not going to do the work for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they make that very clear that, we'll help navigate you through this, but you're doing the work.
Yeah, I think every one of these organizations, same way, even for Women's Economic Ventures, these classes are designed for them to do the work, and then they've got to produce the final project, but then it's up to them to continue that work. They're there as a resource and a guide, but you're right, they're not going to do the work for you.
Right.
I don't think there's any one of these organizations that'll do it for you.
Right.
There's people out there
those are called paid consultants.
Exactly. There's people out there that'll do it for you, but the good thing about most of these organizations, or I think all these organizations, is that they offer a lot of free services or low cost. But I think for the most part, all of it's free.
Right.
So yeah.
And we're actually, I think I stated this on the last radio show, that we will get the Mason building, the Masonic Temple.
Yeah.
And and that there's a very long road.
Yeah.
Don't know how long that road is. There might be some shortcuts along the way, but there's a road that we're going to have to travel to make that happen.
Yeah.
But I'm a believer that, if you go into it with the attitude of, oh, I hope I can.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're going to do this. We're going after that building. We want it. We're going to get it.
Yeah.
And that's the way you attack it.
We might have made a little progress this morning. So
I think
we might have started going down the road a little bit.
I think the light finally turned green.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's somebody crossing the intersection right now, so we got to wait.
Yeah, exactly.
But
so we're starting to slowly roll through.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll come about. So,
but I had a business that I spoke to who is in Santa Paula, and they are looking to grow as well. They want to expand out. Their lease ends in the place that they're in right now, I think, in 3 years. And so after the 3 years, their hope is to be able to really build out. So I'd asked him, I said, are you going to keep it in Santa Paula, or are you going to? And he's like, oh no, absolutely, it's staying in Santa Paula.
Yeah.
So I think there's businesses that are here, I think, have a really strong footprint here. That it's like they don't really want to venture out to any other city, even though they might do better in another city.
No.
Why do you think that is?
Well, part of it is and you've been experienced it, is about, when you come into a city, our permitting process.
Right.
They've improved it since you've been here, to streamline it, to make it easier, to be more welcoming for our businesses. Because I've heard horror stories where they go into a city and they want to start a business, and the first thing they tell them is no, and it's not going to work or whatever, and they get discouraged.
Yeah.
And so I know the city is really trying to do improve on when somebody comes in. It's like, let's have a positive conversation, even if it's not going to work out, but let's exhaust all angles. And
I dealt with the city that they drag your feet so long with permits, and they bury you in all this stuff.
Yeah.
That it's a year before you can even open.
Yeah. And I just spoke with somebody that told me something that happened in Ventura, that they're discouraged because they want to open a business out there. Now they weren't getting very favorable responses from the city.
Yeah.
So they're looking at other options.
Not to digress.
Okay.
Thank you. So when we went into originally, our business, as you know, started out in Ventura. And we ran into a bunch of issues with the building we were in, so we decided to move to another location. The location we were moving into was a fully renovated office suite, and it had been occupied as such. And we wanted to, it was one of these things where you could rent it out as two different suites, or you could combine it as a single suite, because there were openings in the middle that would allow you to. And so we got the whole thing. And on one side of the unit, which would have been the separate suite, we wanted to convert the rooms into a theater and two bigger classrooms, whereas they had a lot of small offices.
Yeah.
In any other arena, would you think that I would be permitted to be able to operate the business on the left side that is being untouched, while the right side is being developed out? Would I?
You would think, yeah.
Yeah, because it's been occupied. It's a fully renovated office. It's got bathrooms, sinks, I mean, everything. They forbid me to even be on the premise while the construction was going on the other side.
Even though it wouldn't.
I could close the doors, and it would end up being two separate office suites.
Is that because it was all one unit and they divided it?
No, it was originally it was two separate units.
Oh.
And the company that was in there before broke down the front wall and added double doors that slid and locked.
So they're considering it one unit then. Probably.
So it still could be rented out as two.
Yeah.
And we ended up renting both sides. And so they both had their own separate post office number and everything. So we rented both sides. And all we had to do was close those double doors and lock it. And it would have totally segregated us from the construction. And all they were doing in the construction was taking down walls and rebuilding the walls. But they refused. And when I said, how come we can't do any business? They said, you can't even be on the premise. They gave us 0 occupancy.
Until they sign off on the other thing.
Until they sign. And it took us 5 months to be able to get that to happen, to build 3 rooms, which were just walls. So you're talking about discouraging. So for 5 months, you can't conduct any business. And we didn't have a slush fund of money to say, okay, let's sit back for 5 months. And so, hey, City of Ventura, we did it anyways, under the darkness. So but here, it was the exact opposite.
I mean, and you sit there and you're waiting, and that's just money just flying out, and you can't make money. You're still paying all the bills. You're still paying all these other things. And it's unfortunate. I don't know if sometimes these cities lose sight of that because of whatever the rules are or whatever. But there's always ways around things to make it what's the word I'm looking for?
Easier.
Well, easier. Make it easier for you to conduct business or anybody else to conduct business while the other things going on. And I've heard that in other cities where it's just black and white. You can't do it. So here, I mean, they stay within the rules, the guidelines, and everything like that, but they're a little more amendable to like, hey, let's look at some creative ways how we can make this work.
I know a business in Santa Paula that set up shop, wasn't necessarily supposed to. Found out that they had to do permits for the stuff that they were doing, and they had already got everything set up, and they were bringing people in. And the code enforcers attitude towards that was, look, it's safe enough, let him do his thing, just make sure you keep following through with the paperwork to get everything signed off and the permits done and everything like that. And you'll be good to go. And in most of these other cities, they would have red tagged them and shut them down.
And that's probably something to say about a small town. Any small town, you'll see that more and more. And we've always been really good about that here in town. I mean, as long as it's safe, and they're making progress and doing things the right way. When even though they've started that, but trying to make it right. I mean, what can you do? I mean, are you going to shut them down, and then they're probably not going to be in business? So it's like, rather we work with them and get them to where they need to be. And hopefully that helps, that works, because that's the last thing you'd want to do, is just come in and say, nope, you shut down, and they're probably not going to be there anymore.
Do you know how many people I've heard that have built something that wasn't permitted, and the city comes in and says you have to take it down, but you have to get a permit to take it down? That
happens a lot.
It's crazy.
Well, there's a lot of things over the years, way back in the day, where things were just built and they just didn't get a permit, or for whatever reason they didn't do it. And I mean, you can find that in any city, and it's just how the city handles it. And I don't know exactly how the city of Santa Paula handles that. That's that's their realm. I'm not part of that, but
I can tell you how they'll handle it, because I interviewed Dan, who is I believe he's the chief building. He would probably come in there and say, okay, so it wasn't permitted. Let's take a look at it. All right, there's some structural things that you have to do in order to correct it. So let's get a permit and do it the right way. He would not be take it down, and by the way, you got to get a permit to take it down. He would try to see how it could be fixed.
A lot of times when people do, they don't know. They don't know that they have to have a permit for something or whatever. There's some people that know and they just try and get around it, but there's a lot of people that don't. And this has been over the years where they've just built something, an extension in their patio. Maybe they enclosed it or whatever they did, and maybe they needed a permit to do it or something. You never know what it is. But or make your garage into a bedroom or something or whatever, into a room. So there may be permits you need for that too. So a lot of times they don't know,
Right.
and so we, in general, it's like even through us with the chamber about helping businesses understand the permitting process, the city educating the public as well, and collectively we're trying to do that, and just tell people, hey, if you want to do this, great, just get the right permits. Here's what it is, and we'll work with you. And the city's doing a pretty good outreach right now.
They need to know too that the city is about saying yes.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
And so how do we get to a yes? Not
Yeah.
oh no.
Yeah.
It's well, okay, we can't like that, but let's see what we can do to get to that yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's good for like we talked about, how do we bring more businesses in? I mean, and that's the thing is like, we've got to be receptive to people that come in, that have an interest in bringing a business or anything into the community. We got to get better at having that discussion with them and talking with them. Example this morning with filming. Filming is huge in Santa Paula. Myself and a city rep met with a film person in person this morning, and they're looking at shooting a commercial between us and like another city. And he told us, he goes, you know what? He goes, you guys are, the advantage is you guys, because you guys actually took the time to come and talk to me in person. And he goes, that goes a long way with us in filming. And we spent literally 10 minutes with the guy. And he was just like, advantage you guys, So, but we always do that. We try and accommodate, if they're filming, I always try and meet them in person and talk with them. We can exchange emails, phone calls, but it's that in-person touch that we do. That's something about our city is like when we're doing things, there's a lot of in-person stuff. I mean, you look at our city leadership, they're out and about in the community all the time.
Oh yeah.
And they talk to people, and, they make them, they're available to have discussion, even the tough discussions, they're there. But you'll see, our James Mason, our economic development director, he's walking around talking to people. You don't find that in the larger cities.
So, it's actually a good lead into this. So we have a ribbon cutting coming up on Friday.
Yes.
Park 1055.
Mm-hmm.
And I was filming the mayor this morning, and Mirka
Vargas. Mirka Vargas. Yeah. Our magic
we were talking about that grand oak, because she asked me, she said, hey, have you been to Park 1055 yet? And I said, no, I haven't. I mean, the place is gorgeous. She's like, it's a happening spot. You go down there on Friday and you're going to see city council people there. You're going to see city employees.
Oh yeah.
It's like the hot spot.
Yeah.
For Santa Paula right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm anxious to go see that. So there's the grand openings coming up at Friday from 2 to 4.
2 to 4. We'll do the ribbon cutting about 2:15 or so. And they had a soft opening a few weeks ago, and it was great. I mean, the place was packed, and they've been busy ever since. And they do a great job marketing, and they're getting a lot of people.
They actually have a marketing team.
Yeah. Heather Fleming is doing their marketing, and she's fantastic. And she's been very creative. I think during New Year's Eve, they did this round the world party thing where the different timeline or different times and different locations. So they've been very creative and stuff. And they're always looking at booking different things, but different events there and stuff. So they're doing it the right way. And so they, because it is a big facility, but the people have embraced it of this community and around surrounding areas. They're the talk right now of around the whole area. Not just Santa Paula, but I was on a call yesterday with Fillmore and Pyro, and they were just like, yeah, we heard great things about that restaurant and stuff. So the buzz is getting out there. So, we keep getting businesses like that coming in. That's just going to help us elevate what we're going to do. And it helps improve business for our other businesses, current businesses, right. Especially in the downtown. It's a great addition to downtown, because that just keeps people in the downtown area. They come down, they'll start supporting and shopping if they don't already. So, we just got to keep looking at bringing businesses like that and people that want to make a difference in their community.
I think one of the things we need to talk about in one of our upcoming shows is what are we doing for businesses that are outside of the downtown? Because there's a whole bunch of them as well.
Yeah.
And it's important to not have so much focus on the downtown that they get forgotten.
Yeah.
So let's maybe in one of our shows we can talk about what is being done to help support them. And
and real briefly, we've been talking about how we support the Harvard district too, which is, it's not an official district, but it's our business district.
Right.
It's the main business hub of our community. And now that we have the road fixed and paved, so now what's next? What do we need to do to help the businesses?
I know the Chamber app
Mhm.
that's being developed is going to incorporate those businesses and bring attention to them.
Yeah, and I actually visited several businesses on Harvard last Friday and just talked with the managers and stuff of these businesses, some of our larger businesses, and they're aware of now that that Harvard's done, their business is picked up, but it's like, so I'm asking, so what do we need to do now on top of that to help support you? Some might need advertising, some might not, but we're doing this new program called Business Connection, where myself and city staff and probably the mayor or vice mayor, whoever, some of our council members go and visit these businesses and have a discussion with them and kind of see what their needs are, good, bad, and ugly, what's going on and how can we help through the chamber and through the city. So it's us once a month going out there and connecting with several businesses and just doing more of that one-on-one face-to-face thing on top of how we do our roundtables and stuff, where we have an upcoming roundtable on the Thursday, the 29th, I think 29th, where we're going to have a from 9 to 10:30 at the Glen Tavern, where we're going to have we want feedback from everybody that attends. We're going to do some roundtable discussions. We have some topics we'd like to cover, from economic development to tourism to other permitting and all that. And we're going to have everybody at tables have a discussion and come up with some ideas and stuff, so we can come back and say, okay, here's what our businesses need and what they want, and see how we can compile that. And then in the next roundtable, start building on that. It helps us as a chamber understand what the needs are. It helps the city understand where they need to go. Helps our council understand the needs as well. So it's kind of, we're collectively working together now, and not that we haven't before, but now we're actually sitting down with businesses collectively to kind of see what their needs are. And I met with a business, another business I met on Friday, and they're like, they've been fantastic. Police departments are being great. They're responsive. I've never had an issue with the city. I'm like, that's what we need to hear too. If things are going well, let us know too.
Right.
Because even though they're going well, there's other things that we could probably improve on top of that too. So that's something we're looking at. This is a new program we're starting this Friday. And we're going to do this once a month. So if there's a business out there that would, that is available, we're going to start doing some more outreach, and it'd be great for us to go visit your place and just sit down and talk. And it's a 1-hour meeting. It's short and quick. We have some ideas and some questions that we can give them. It's like, and then they can ask whatever they want. But how often do you get to do in a city where you're actually one-on-one with the mayor and city staff all in the same room, and it's your time to express your thoughts, and
businesses, if you're part of the chamber, you can always come on this show.
Yes, available for any chamber business to come on and talk about their business. We'd love to see that more and more. I mean, we have basically 52 shows, so we can bring in 52 businesses if we need to.
So one of our upcoming shows is going to feature Mirka.
Yes.
Vargas,
our management fellow.
Right. Yep. And she is going to be going to DC for the inauguration. So when she comes back, we will have her on to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, that's going to be really exciting. So we have Park 1055 from 2 to 4 on Friday. Any real quick, anything else?
Following week on the 23rd at 3:00, we have the Collective Studio in Main Street. That's doing a grand reopening. And the address is 869, I'm thinking, Main Street, but it's right next to Godina's. It's between 10th Street and Mill Street. So should have had them drawing a blank here. Senior moment.
Well, we'll be back Wednesday.
Yeah, so we'll talk about it. Yeah. But it's at 3:00. We'll do the ribbon cutting about 3:15. In February, we have another ribbon cutting for the new Vet Tech Center at East Campus. We have a new hair salon downtown that possibly we'll see a grand opening coming up pretty quick too. So we're kicking off the year right. We're having some new businesses coming in, getting some excitement going. Hopefully the weather cooperates better with us. I don't know what's worse, the wind or the rain. So it's I think the wind wins that one.
Yeah,
so I can deal with the rain, but the wind is just horrible sometimes.
Yeah, and the thought of it sparking up a fire and having it out of control is just
Yeah.
scary for a lot of people.
And we're having these discussions about helping with brush clearing and doing other things. And if anybody has any questions or information, they can go to the city website, spcity.org. There's a lot of information on public safety through the police department, the fire department. You have a question, go to Ventura County Fire. They can help assist with that as well. There's plenty of programs out there that if somebody needs assistance for that reason, for public safety when it comes to fires or something like that, they can reach out there as well.
And I believe Kate will be on next week to talk about emergency preparedness with the Santa Paula Police
She's part of the police department too, so she can explain more about that. And our Citizens Corps group that we'll have her talk about that, and it's about all of us getting together to talk about public safety. So she can talk a little bit about that.
All right, that is our show. We went 5 minutes over.
Man, we'll get there. We'll get there. We're getting closer, So,
but that's okay. A lot of good information.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening. We will see you all next week. Hopefully, it will be with Kate. What is her last name? Blanchard.
Watkins.
Yeah. Why did I say Blanchard?
I don't know.
I don't know where I got Blanchard from.
You going to the library?
Maybe. Maybe that's what it was. So hopefully we'll see her next week to talk about emergency preparedness. With that, let's get down to Park 1055 and from 2 to 4 on Friday to celebrate their grand opening and check out that great establishment.
Yep.
We'll see you all next week.
This has been a Rough Edge Studios production.